Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about personal power and how every single person on earth is a creator with immense power, access to immense power, and they may not even know it. And I will tell you how you can see that even if you think that you are failing in your life right now. 20 years ago, I discovered that what I focused on created reality. And I remember the exact moment that I discovered that. I was driving down the street, coming up to a traffic light, and I was thinking to myself, things go wrong for me even more than goes wrong from random chance. Like, I can't win anything, even less than I should be able to by random chance. Things just, everything in my life goes wrong for me, much more than it should. And I was driving up to a traffic light and I said, see, I bet that traffic light is going to turn red right now. And the moment that I put my finger up and did that, that traffic light turned red instantly. And I stopped for a moment because I had changed my perception of thinking of myself as totally powerless in my life and understanding that perhaps I had power but was using it in the wrong way to create what I didn't want instead of what I did want. So that awareness can come to you no matter what your state in life is and no matter where you are in life. It doesn't mean, because what had happened, and this happened for several years after I realized that, I kept thinking that I was powerless, didn't have much power because I wasn't creating what I wanted. But the reality is it's the opposite. If you are creating spectacular failures in your life, it's taking a lot of power and energy to do that. And understanding that will give you a whole different perspective of who you are as a person and as an energy being, and the creative capacity that you really have access to. So when you look at your life and things aren't going well, you can ask yourself, well, was I anxious about that beforehand? Did I focus on the idea that it wouldn't come out well? Did I have a secret kind of feeling it wasn't going to work? Or was there something else I was scared of that would happen if it did work, so I was holding it back? When you start asking yourself that questions, well, why? Why was it that I ended up in that situation? Then you can start seeing how you create things. And then the most important and beautiful thing starts happening is then you start asking yourself, well, wait a minute, how do I create a different ending instead of these endings that I've been happening? And of course, that comes with slowly changing your belief system about what you're capable of and starting to define what you really want and figuring out how to focus on what you want instead of focusing on what you do want. The change is simple. The change is just in choosing each moment a different direction. However, getting to the point where you realize that you're creating what you don't want is actually the hard part, because that is in taking ownership and responsibility for your own energy. And it's funny that people resist that for so long in their lives, understanding that they're responsible for their own energy. But when they get to that point where they realize that, then everything can start to shift and things can start to move in your life a lot quicker. So, have a look at your life, at the things that didn't work out, and ask yourself, what was my part in creating that? And am I perhaps more powerful than I thought I was? And just a caveat here, if you were in bad situations, it doesn't take away the responsibility of anybody else for what they did. They still own what they did, but you own how your life ended up in that direction and in that place. And you have the power to steer your life out of that place and get to a different place. That is the point of this post. That's all for now. Thank you.